My name is Colton Barnes, and today we're going to be going over the serve in tennis. So this skill is really important, just initiating the gameplay. This is how you start a tennis game. Obviously you serve before a volley is initiated. It's really important to at least get a good hang of this skill, if not master it, because it's one of the most important parts of the game. It's how you start, and it can also be important in make or break situations where you're down to the wire and you get a good serve or you beat someone on it, and that could be the end of the match right there. So if we're going to start focusing on this skill, what we want to do first is focus on grip with our racket. We want to have our fingers from about here up to here, so as I showed you, I'm going to have them about like that, and you can line your thumb up on the side, or you can put it a little in. I like to hold it right on the side. So one way you can check for this, first of all, is if you can go like this, like you're smashing a hammer, you'll know if your grip is right, rather than if you try to do it and your arm has to move out a little bit. Next thing you want is athletic stance with your feet about shoulder width apart. You want to stagger them just a little bit with your lead foot, which is my left because I'm right-handed, so it would be leading and I would have it angled just a little bit. Next thing you're going to focus on is your toss. This can be very important because if you don't have a good toss, you're probably not going to have a good serve. It could either go all the way to the right, all the way to the left, too far down the middle. So what you want to do is you want to focus on your toss. So that is, I would be cupping it in my hand, throwing it straight up. I'm kind of working with my body, kind of throwing like that. You're not really using your legs so much, but you're just tossing straight. So I've got my feet set. I've got one foot a little bit in front of the other staggered. I have my grip placement and I have my toss. The next thing is where you're going to have your hands. You don't want to throw the ball and already have your racket up. You really focus on the technique here. You want to have your racket down, and we'll say I tossed it up. At its highest point, you're going to swing through, you're going to follow through, and you're going to look for the sweet spot of the racket, which is about right there. That's where you want to hit the ball. So if I was to do this again without the ball, have my feet set, foot ready, be tossing, I'd be leaning and following through. Okay? So a demonstration of this skill would look like this. Go ahead. Set. I didn't get as high as I wanted there, but that's really what you're looking for, is the technique and your arm placement behind this. So get back on some level ground. Have my feet set. Down, I've got my grip. I'm looking again to hit it. Go ahead and show you one more. Again, you're going to try to hit it at its highest point. That's something that's kind of hard to grasp, but it can really help in hitting the ball down so you can get distance, but also hit for the ground instead of hitting all the way back like a line drive, which would likely go out of bounds. So again, one more time here. I have my feet set, my grip right. You can see, doing a hammer. Found the sweet spot of my racket, got my toss. Go ahead and do one more toss there. And I'm going to swing and follow through like that. So I'm going to have my partner go ahead and bring some of the balls back. Again, we want to reiterate having our feet set, that lead foot a little bit in front. See that from this distance. And then you want to have your grip right, really focus on that toss, seeing it, and pronating through. So a couple things you could do for just getting your tennis serve down is working on pronating the wrist. This is something that becomes really hard for people a lot of times when they're going. They can't twist their wrist, right? And they'll just be more swinging down or swinging sideways through. So one way you can really focus on this and really look on refining the part of your wrist action is holding the ball. You want to grip it just like you're throwing a baseball. We're going to stand forward. We're going to throw it just like we would like a baseball throw, but instead of just throwing it straight, I want you to hold it like this and I want you to pronate your wrist as you throw. So it would look like this. See how when I threw it, I really pronated my wrist? I'll go ahead and show you that 2 more times. So I'm really turning that wrist, focusing on the wrist action, because with the serve and a lot of moves in tennis, that's really what you want to focus on, is the technique of it. So we'll show you one more. I'm going to really pronate that wrist again. So again, we're going to have the balls collected and the tennis balls, and I'll go ahead and show you. We have an extension that you could do for this. So once you've really mastered the technique and you've got your grip right, you have your feet set, you're really understanding where to gauge the height of the ball and how you go and follow through. The next thing we can do is kind of focus more on our power and our accuracy. So if we were to do this, one drill I would perform, as you see I have 3 buckets, which my partner is going to set out. You could set them at different distances. Well, actually not different distances, my bad. Different locations. Because I already have them set to about the distance it would be if I did a serve on a regular tennis court. So we want to keep that about the same, but we're going to keep 3 different locations. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to work on keeping all the fundamentals of my serve, but I'm going to try to hit towards the targets. So again, you want to focus on keeping your feet set. Lead foot, my grip, maybe get a pre-toss, kind of keep gauging the height that you want. And first off, I'm going to aim for the bucket over there. So as you can see, I didn't hit it at its highest point, but I'm kind of gauging that distance again. Try this a couple more times. So I'll aim for the middle one this time. Still pulling it a little bit. That's all right. And we'll go for the last bucket over here on the side. So again, for our last one, our feet set, ready, shoulder width apart, got my grip, making sure I keep my racket down. And there we go. That was about on target, what we're looking for. So really, you can mess around with this. You could move the buckets in closer. You could set them to the side you really want to focus on. Really doesn't matter. Like I said, there's multiple ways to do it. And that's just a little drill I feel that's pretty simple, and it can really help you work on accuracy. So if I was to talk about some common errors of this skill, it would really be, first of all, grip. So there's some people that just put their hand right in the middle. They think about the middle, distance is where you want to hold it. They'll kind of squeeze it like they're making a hard grip. Or maybe they're choking up too high. They feel like the racket's too long. Well, it's important to look about where the end of the racket starts to bulge up a little bit, the base. And again, you want to keep your hand as low as you can on that, kind of lead with your finger. This just really lets you have a lot of range of motion and stuff. A good way to fix that is, again, like I said, make sure you can do the straight hammer motion and your arm doesn't come out a little or anything like that. Another thing is that people focus too much on really their power or just aiming where they're going, just trying to hammer it. They don't think they're going to make it past the net. Oftentimes that's just very out of control, and it can lead to just hitting out of bounds. So one way to fix that is that you really want to think about your technique in establishing your form, because really it's a lot more in the wrist play than it is your arms. You're really focusing on leaning down, putting that foot, throwing up, swinging through, pronating that wrist. Really, the only other error that is really found to be an issue is people gauging their toss. So one way you can work on that is, honestly, you can go somewhere where you have a roof maybe that's kind of low, and you can gauge if you're just hitting the top of that, or you can just come out really and you can stand and just take a couple balls. Basically just focus on tossing straight up, not too high, not too low, but really it just takes practice, just working on. And you don't want to rush it. You also do not want to swing at a bad toss. You want to catch it and just retoss to yourself, because if you work on hitting like from bad tosses, first of all, you're probably not going to have a good serve, and you're going to establish habits that aren't proper. So really you just want to work on those couple things and just focus on how you're initiating your form. So I'm going to go ahead and do one more review of this skill, you guys. So go ahead here again. We're keeping our feet set. We're leading with one foot, tilted a little bit to the side. Keeping our hand grip the same, doing our hammer action. Getting our hand ready for that nice toss. Keeping our arm down, swinging and supinating, pronating our wrist. Go ahead and do that 2 more times. Serve it through. Now I'll show you the skill one more time. Oh, my bad. And that is our serve.